Hello, in this video we will look at interjections. An interjection is a word or a group of words that expresses emotion. They can show different emotions like happiness, surprise, anger, impatience, etc. Sometimes they can also be used to get attention, like when you say hey or hi. Those are interjections which are used to gain somebody's attention. So you're calling out to that person. But these words don't actually have a proper meaning. They convey emotions, or they convey that somebody is trying to catch your attention, but they don't really have a meaning. Sometimes you may not be able to translate them directly into another language. Interjections do not have a grammatical purpose in the sentence. Often they are parenthetical. Parenthetical means that they are not part of that sentence, they are something extra that is being added to that sentence. And therefore, they are often set off from the rest of the sentence using commas. Where are interjections usually placed in a sentence? Where do they occur? Generally, they are used at the beginning of sentences, but that is not a rule. It's not necessary that interjections should always come at the beginning of sentences. Sometimes they can come at the beginning, sometimes at the end, sometimes in the middle, etc. So they may come anywhere in the sentence. Let us look at some examples. In the first sentence, gee, that's not very nice. Gee, that's not very nice. Here, gee is an interjection. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a slightly complaining kind of interjection. And that comes at the beginning of the sentence. Gee, that's not very nice. In the second sentence, you like that ice cream, huh? You like that ice cream, huh? It's a question where huh is the interjection and it comes at the end of that sentence. Third sentence, I found that yes, I had forgotten my book. Here, yes is the interjection. I found that yes, I had forgotten my book. Indeed, I had forgotten my book. So, yes is basically used here for emphasis. Even if you just say, I found that I had forgotten my book, the meaning is complete. But yes is used here for emphasis. Actually, I had forgotten my book. So, therefore, yes is an interjection here, and you can see that it is set off from the part of that sentence before and after it using commas. And here, yes comes in the middle of a sentence. So, here we can see three example sentences. In each of them, we can see how interjections are used either in the beginning or at the end or in the middle of a sentence. You can also see how interjections are set off from the rest of the sentence using commas. Now, apart from commas, there are many different punctuation marks that can be used for interjections. And depending on the kind of emotion that it conveys or the purpose of that interjection, we can use different kinds of punctuation marks. First of all, interjections that express strong emotion are followed with an exclamation mark. These are the kind of interjections that we are most familiar with. You use an exclamation mark to express strong emotion. Oh no, I forgot to do my homework. So, here after oh no, there is an exclamation mark to show the intensity of the disappointment that is being conveyed by the interjection oh no. Then, mild interjections are set off from the rest of the sentence with a comma. For example, rats, it's raining again, or darn, it's raining again. So, this is also an interjection which conveys disappointment, just like oh no in the previous sentence. But here, the intensity of that interjection, the intensity of the emotion is lesser. Therefore, you don't need an exclamation mark. Rather, you just use a comma. Rats, it's raining again. Your disappointment at the rain is not very intense. If it were that intense, if you were in a life or death situation and it started raining and that made all the difference, then maybe you will use an exclamation mark. Okay, so depending on the intensity of the emotion, you can use either an exclamation mark or a comma. Then, Questioning interjections are followed by a question mark. Sometimes interjections are used in order to emphasize that there is a question being asked. So the interjection itself has a questioning tone. In such a case, obviously, you will use a question mark. For example, huh? You want me to do what? So here, you want me to do what is a question. Basically, it means what do you want me to do? But it's a kind of disbelieving question. Somebody has asked you to do something, and you are not very sure that is this what this person wants me to do? There is something unbelievable about it. There is something strange about it, and you are responding to that. And you start off your question, you start off your response with an interjection, which itself is in a questioning tone. Huh? So there you use a question mark. Occasionally, sometimes an interjection might take a full stop, a period, especially if it is at the end of the sentence. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes when the interjection is at the end of the sentence, you might just give a full stop rather than an exclamation mark or any other punctuation mark. For example, my sandwich is squished. Yuck. My sandwich is squished. It's an expression of disgust at how shapeless that sandwich has become. So you use the interjection yuck. But because it's not a strong expression and because it comes at the end of that sentence, you can just use a full stop, yuck. You could, if you want to increase the intensity of that emotion, you can put an exclamation mark after yuck. But if you just want to make it a kind of statement that, oh, it's disgusting that my sandwich is squished, then you just put a full stop after the interjection yuck. So thus you can see that different kind of punctuation marks can be used with interjections, even though the most common ones that we immediately think of are exclamation marks. Usually exclamation marks are used to express strong emotion. Suppose the emotion being expressed is not so strong, then you can just use a comma. Suppose the interjection is in a questioning tone, then you can use a question mark. And suppose the interjection comes at the end of the sentence and it is rather mild, then you can just use a full stop.